Alright, so the season 5 premiere of Jane the Virgin comes on in like 3 minutes, and I just want to say really quickly that this month I rewatched Jane the Virgin again, and from season 1, and it was the first time that I was Team Michael. I really liked Michael, but I was always like rooting for Jane and Raphael because, have you seen Raphael? I have children. I don't know what happened this time I watched it, and I was just like, oh man, Michael's the man. He's the guy for Jane, and he's a stand-up dude, and Raphael's a douche, and yeah. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel, because if you watched it up until this point, you know that Michael died, and Raphael and Jane just got together finally, and now Michael's back. So supposedly a lot's supposed to be explained in this premiere episode, and I'm hoping that I can watch it all the way through, and yeah. I'm like really excited to get the answers and to see more of like Raphael, but also the show tends to upset me and stress me out, and sometimes I quit mid-season and then watch it on Netflix. But nevertheless, I'm still excited for the premiere. Oh my god. Oh yeah, who was that? No. So I wanted to attempt to do a recap show about something, because I don't have much of a social life, and I tend to have a whole lot to say about TV shows and movies. So, and that mostly like is directed at my husband or sister, and I thought, well, you know what, YouTube sounds like a good place to put that. So, especially because my sister hates the show, she refuses to watch it. I tell her about it, and she's like, no, this is nonsense. And I was like, you don't understand. I think this is the first time that I watch a show on television, like with commercial breaks and all that jazz, in over like a year. So I'm gonna have to like try my best to keep up with the show. I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad at it, and I don't have DVR at the moment. So it's like I'm just gonna have to set little reminders or alarms or something like that in my calendar, which is so fitting for Jane. The episode starts right where they left off in the last episode of season 4, and so we know that Michael has come back or never died or whatever the heck. I have my theories about that, and I'm gonna see if I remember to mention it later. But he's alive, and he is now going by the name Jason, and he has this weird like southern drawl, and we find out, they explain that Rose staged his heart attack and death, which is like, I'm just gonna choose not to like think about that or put too much thought into it, and just, you know, just go with it. I'm just, what's that called? Suspension of disbelief, is that what it's called? Suspension, whatever the hell. I'm gonna go with it. I'm just gonna go with it. Let go, let God. But yeah, we find out that Rose staged his heart attack and his like funeral and all that jazz, and then on top of it, in the meantime, gave him amnesia. She induced amnesia. Is that that's the medical term? I'm sure. I used to be a doctor, so she did that by using electroshock with some kind of in between this lobe and that lobe, and it caused amnesia. And so this is his life, and so she chose to tell Raphael about it, and they find Michael, bring him to Jane. Of course, he remembers nobody and nothing. And it's interesting because I felt nothing, because he was nothing like Michael. He was like very cold and had like none of the same interest in like Cubanos. He just remembered nothing and no one, and it was interesting. I don't know if this was done intentionally or what, but like for me, I just felt nothing. I thought that I was gonna be like just overwhelmed with emotions. I thought I was gonna be like crying and oh my gosh, and have mixed feelings and what about Raphael and all this stuff. No, I felt nothing because it wasn't Michael. So it didn't feel like Michael came back or Michael was never dead, or it wasn't like this big emotional reunion or anything like that, because it wasn't Michael. So Michael's mom, being as forward as she always has been, she just says like, hey Jane, I need you to come to the doctor's appointment with me to the neurologist, and I need you to help me. The neurologist says, you know, they don't understand everything about the brain. We still don't know everything about the brain, but supposedly like bringing him around familiar places and people and explaining him and kind of like retelling him his life will help him remember things, maybe. So of course she just enlists Jane like, hey, you're his wife, FYI, by the way, you're his wife still, so it's your job to come help me do this. And of course Jane agrees because she's a saint. Yeah, it doesn't go well, it doesn't seem to be working. And so they kind of, you know, Michael lets her know, or Jason lets her know that like, you don't have to do this isn't your responsibility anymore. You can just like give me videos and pictures and like go on with your business. Anyway, in the meantime, Jane and Raphael were supposed to move in together like the next day after this happened. So they put it on hold, but Raphael still packs, and he decides to move into the house and just wait for Jane. And so Rogelio decides to take a moment. Oh, Rogelio faints, by the way, when he finds out about Michael. So funny. And of course, unfortunately, Michael doesn't remember Rogelio either. But Rogelio decides to take time to help Raphael out to pack, because everybody's kind of like, oh wait, what about Raphael? So Jane has this epic monologue, and I remember reading an article about it not too long ago and was so excited to see this part, and it did not disappoint. So I read that Jenny Schneider-Urman wrote somebody wrote, it's Jenny, right? She's right? I don't know. Oh my god. I don't know all the details, but I remember reading that it was a 7.5-page monologue, and they wanted Gina Rodriguez to do it in one take, and everybody kept saying that she wasn't going to be able to do it. And so Jenny Schneider-Urman, I believe, was the one that was like, no, she can do it. She's going to do it. And she did it. It was hysterical. It was so funny. I couldn't believe it. It was so funny. She was just like, she was manic, and she was just like up and down, and she was pretty much like, she was just being really cynical about the whole situation, about having this like husband come back from the dead with amnesia, and it was just so funny. I'm not even gonna try to like repeat it or anything like that. It was just, you have to see it. It was so freaking funny, and Gina Rodriguez is like, she's just amazing, and I want to be her, and that's fine. I think she's younger than I am. Whatever. So Raphael decides he's gonna pack, and he's gonna go on. He's gonna pack, and he's gonna move into the house and like just wait for Jane to come whenever she's ready. Meanwhile, he's just been like super patient and supportive through this whole freaking mess, which is amazing. Rogelio decides to go help Raphael pack and like hang out with him, because it's like, yeah, he's got feelings too, and Rogelio is like, you know, always been Team Michael, and they've been Brogelios. So yeah, he spends some time with Raphael, and Jane tries to spend time, you know, with Michael, and she ultimately decides that, I was so excited that this happened. She ultimately decides that she just wants Michael to kind of do it on his own. Like, Jason, she gives him like the study guide, and like, okay, have fun, sir. Right, and that's what I wanted her to do too. But, in the middle of all that, we find out who JR shot at the end of season 4, which I was like kind of underwhelmed by that. It was Milos. So Milos was the person that was in Petra's suite or penthouse, whatever it is, and JR shot him, didn't kill him, shot him in the arm. So he eventually gets arrested. I feel like that part was like, nah, I don't know, it wasn't as interesting as the rest of the show, but he gets shot, and, you know, Petra pretends to, like, strike up a deal with him while she waits for the police to come and take him away. It wasn't that interesting, but Jane Ramos, JR, she dumps Petra and is, like, not having it. Petra tries really hard to, like, talk to her a few times and to get her back, and it doesn't work, unfortunately. It was nice of my chin to break out right in time for this. So glad I had this idea. But I also wanted to say that the last scene between JR and Petra, I feel like just spoke volumes about Yael Grobglas. I feel like I always have the consonants in her last name mixed up. Grobglas. Yael, Petra. I feel like the real Petra. It says a lot about her acting abilities, because there was like, when she was talking to JR about her feelings and like spilling her heart out, there was like this sincerity that was there. Like, you just felt that. You felt that. And in a way that you didn't feel it when she was talking to Raphael in past seasons. Even when she like discovered that she loved Raphael or wanted Raphael back, like all the times that she tried to like get Raphael back and like talk to him and have serious conversations, and when they were together, this was like nothing like that. It was like on a whole different level of like emotions for Petra or Yael, and it was like really cool. I felt that, and I felt so bad that JR left her, and I didn't want her to leave her. I wanted that to work out, so hopefully she comes back. I want to say they have enough money to pay Rosario Dawson at this point, but we'll see. And I appreciated all of the flashback funeral scenes. They started from like the very beginning when they talked about the Day of the Dead and visiting Michael's grave and all of that. They did a lot of scenes, and it was just enough too. They were just long enough, and it was nice, because I feel like when Michael died, like in what season was that? 2 or 3? 3? When Michael actually died, I feel like they didn't spend enough time on that. It just seemed like they just, of course they like skipped ahead in time, and I just feel like you didn't see any of the actual process or the grieving or anything, which I don't know, maybe it's better that they did it this way. I really appreciated that they did that, and I got like a little bit emotional when they showed Jane giving like her speech at the end, and Raphael came up and helped her, and then that's when Jane realizes that she wants to be with Raphael, and she wants to go on and continue on with their plans. I was so elated when that happened, because I was like, girl, if you tell me, the back and forth gets so frustrating between Jane and Raphael, so I was so glad that something happened in episode 1. And that's not to say that it will stay that way, but I'm so glad that a decision was made in episode 1. So I'm like, there's hope. I just want to fast forward to their wedding. I don't care if it's a 2-season or I don't care if it's a 2-episode season. I would be okay with that as long as Raphael and Jane end up together, which is interesting because I was saying that when I rewatched Jane the Virgin this month, I was like, it was the first time where I was like, you know what, I like Michael, and I was team Michael, and I was like, this will be interesting. I wonder how I'll feel when the new episode comes out. And yeah, I'm over Jason. And I'm interested to see how many episodes he's in this season. Like, does he last through the whole season, or is it gonna like kind of come and go and like make a special appearance? Lastly, Raphael's sister Louisa also makes a few appearances in this episode, and we find out that Raphael gave Rose Louisa's contact information, like in exchange for information about Michael. And I guess we also find out that Louisa may be the only person that Rose is willing to like tell why she did what she did to Michael to. So at the end, Louisa decides that she's going to contact Rose and just take one for the team, right? Because it's not like she doesn't always throw away everything for Rose. She's going to go ahead and take one for the team and contact Rose to find out the reason why she did what she did to Michael. And I think that's pretty much where we leave off. That was a whole lot that happened in that episode. Yeah, so I'm kind of interested to see what happens with Michael, because I feel like there's a good chance that that's not Michael. I feel like that's too simple. Even though it was like bonkers to hear about it, and it's funny because I was like, at first, I was like, I don't like, Jane's reaction. Like, Jane isn't reacting properly to like seeing her husband back. And then I thought, yeah, how the heck are you supposed to react? I guess I don't know how you'd react. That's not like a normal scenario, and it's like so over the top and bananas. But yeah, I have a feeling there's a little more to that. Like, because how Rose did the crazy stuff with the masks, I feel like, what if that's not even Michael? It's a Michael mask. So that concludes episode 1 of season 5 of Jane the Virgin. It's the final season, and I'm like pretty excited about it. I'm hoping that I can keep up with it. I really enjoyed the episode, and I'm hoping that I can keep up with this, and keep up with the show, and keep up with like the video thing. So we'll see. But that was episode 1. No. No. Yeah. No, that's right. You don't want that.
No.